2.
First, I must apologize to the souls of the house because I'm wearing the cheekbones of the mask only. Like a pill bottle whose name is yours, name tagged on the side of a factory of risks. I mean, teeth of the mask now. Back of the head of the mask now. A new phase of anti-anthropomorphism fending for real faces. Stuck with one of those cultures that believes I chose this family. I'm not creative. Just the silliest of the revolutionaries. My blood drying on my only jacket, the police state psychic middleman evangelizing for the creation of an unmasses, an unmedgar, blood of a lamb less racialized or awesome prison sentence. Good God. A right angle made between a point on a Louisiana plantation and a 5-year-old's rubber ball 3 feet high and falling like a deportee plane to complete my interpretation of garden variety genocide. I'm small talk about loving your enemies a little more realistically, about paper tigers and also gold. I need my left hand back. Broke my neck on a piano key, found paradise in a fist fight. Maybe I should check into the Cuba line. Watching the universe's last metronome, some call Black Jacobins. Just wait. These religions will start resigning in a decade or two. Some colorfully, some transactionally, in a cotton gothic society, class betrayal gone glasses. Ironically, my window started fogging over too as I was trying to figure out which Haiti would get me through the winter, which poem houses souls, which socialist breakthroughs like taking 10 steps back, then finally trying stillness, like introducing Gabriel Prosser to the loneliest monk. I remember childhood. Remember the word childhood being a beginning. Scribbling on an amazing grace, I rented this body from some circumference of slavery. Remember being kicked out the Midwest. Strange fruit theater, lithium and circuses, like-minded stomachs, the ruling class blessing their blank checks with levy foam, with opioid tea, sentient dollar bills yelling to each other, pocket to pocket, cello stands in the precinct for accompanying counter-revolutionaries. My mother raised me with a simple pain. A poet loses his mind, like the room has weather, or first girlfriend gravity. The difference between me and you is the madness wants me forever. A pair of apartments defining both my family and political composure. Books behind my back, bail money paved into the streets playing euphoria, cliche. Bracing for the medicine's recoil, sharing a dirty deli sandwich with my friends. Black Jacobins, underground topography of a grandmother's hand. Psychology of the mask now. Teeth of the mask again. I go to the railroad tracks and follow them to the station of my enemies. A cobalt-toothed man pitches pennies at my mugshot, negative all over the United States. There are toddlers in the rock. I see why everyone out here got in the big cosmic basket and why blood agreements mean a lot and why it gets shot back at. I understand the psycho-spiritual refusal to write white history or take the glass freeway. White skin tattooed on my right forearm, ricochet sewage near where I collapsed into a rat-infested manhood. My new existence is living graffiti. In the kitchen with a lot of gun cylinders to hack up. House of God in part, no cops in part. My body brings down to Christmas. The new bullets pray over blankets made from the old bullets. Pray over the 28th hour's next beauty mark. Extrajudicial Confederate statue restoration. The waistband before the next protest post. Hey, by the way, time is not an illusion, Your Honor. I will save your deaths for last. You are witty, Your Honor. You're moving money again, Your Honor. It's only raining one thing. Non-white cops. And prison guard shadows reminded me of spoiled milk floating on an oil spill in neighborhood making a lot of fuss over its demise. A new lake for a Black Panther party. Malcolm X's ballroom jacket slung over my son's shoulder, the figment of village, a new news to a new white preacher, all in an abstract painting of a president. They bought slavery some time, didn't it? The tantric screeches of military boats and election Tuesday cars, a cold-blooded study in leg irons, proof that some white people have actually fondled nooses, that sundown couples made their vows of love over opaque peach plastic in both action audiences. The Medgar Evers second is definitely my favorite law of science. Fondled news clippings and primitive Methodists, my arm changes imperialisms. Simple policing versus structural frenzies, elementary school script versus even wider white spectrums, artless bleeding, and the challenge of watching civilians think terrible rituals they have around the corner. They let their elders beg for public mercy. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen these kids' heads in the arrows myself and see how much gravy spills out of family crest. Modern fans of war, with their t-shirt poems and t-shirt guilt, and me having on the cheapest pair of shoes on the bus, I have no choice but to read the city walls for signs of my life. You know, capitalists eat until the world is blurry to them. These streets are made of saliva. There's some people made of saliva too. They usually have on uniforms. While a crazy man spins round and round trying to make a record out of this mass production jungle, maybe I'll join him, count cash and cry. These streets are made of saliva and white sheets are worn by a building in which kids are supposed to learn how to read well. White sheets on the highway too. Another mayor needs their head on a pike. One down is just one down. But you know, you tell all this to the masses, your teacher will pipeline you. They told me I was jewelry. They told me this is jungle. Well, maybe not jungle, more like 50 machine guns planted in the ground. It's raining faces again in California. What does it say about heaven? What does it say about the people you killed? Waiting lines got so exhausted, a million minds dropped all these faces at once. If the fascists can read the lips of a giant talking in his sleep, we might as well make our demands in prison letters. Today was born the most important trigger finger in the world. Today I begun counting down the pages between now and a pile of books by a tunnel. You know, Chicago is going to walk out of Chicago one day. Babies that drag street signs like old toys. Today the most important letter left prison. Babies will laugh at flags like faces that have disappeared. Maybe I'll join them. But for now, these streets are made of saliva, and we raise half-full glasses to the basements that meant nothing. And the working poor who live there, we get shot. We get white sheets on California, where the kitchen table likes to talk as much as the walls, and romance on the porch consists of hard residing. I mean, this picture characters talk spit and know that they hard to kill. The kitchen table knows this. The porch is almost convinced that one down is just one down. This town is coming to town. A circus watching itself, half distracted, half suicidal, thrilled children dressed as cops, thrilled children preaching and policing and intaking and hiring and snatching your money. This town's coming to town with tough trademarks to follow. Today, I watch capitalism walk on water and people play dead so that they could be part of a miracle. You know, all street life, to a certain extent, starts fair. Sometimes with a spiritual memory even. Pre-dawn soul clap, your father dying even. Maybe I pushed the city too far. My sensitivities to landfill districting and minstrel whistles, white supremacist graffiti on westbound rail guards all overcome and reauthored. Reauthored by revolutionary violence that chose its own protagonist or a muted stage of genius. You know, the garbage is growing voices. Condensed Marxism. For warrior depressives, underpasses in their pockets because they just might be deities. A decent bid on the Panther name, a merciful Marxism. Disquieted home life, a metaphor for relaxing next to a person who is relaxing next to a gun. I stare at my father for a few seconds, then return to my upbringing. Return to the souls of Ohio black folks. Revolution damn near pagan at this point. You know what the clown wants? The respect of the ant. Wants to interpret pain only. It wants to pull a 38 out of a begging bowl, wants me to hurt my hand on this pen. I mean, I'm not tired of these rooms, just tired of the world to give them a relativity. My only change of clothes prosecuted. The government has finally learned how to write poems. Shootouts that briefly align, that make up a parable. Like parables like white bodies are paid well, or do white men even have leaders? Are all white people white men? A rat pictures a river. Can almost taste the racial divide. Can almost roll a family member's head into a city hall legislative chamber. Knows who in this good book will fly. Man, all I do is practice, Lord. Decided not to talk out of anger ever again. Met my wife at the same time I met new audience members for our pain. We passed each other cigarettes and watched cops win. The city going uniquely linear. Harlem of the West, do a true universe. I will always remember you in fancy clothes, my wife said. So here I sit, twisting in silk ideation. Rifle made of postbellum tar, targets made of an honest language. This San Francisco poetry is how God knows that it's me whining. Riding among the lesser respected wolves, lesser observed militarization. Dixie list prison bookkeeping, the California Great Coast are coming. Lynch mob gossip and bourgeois debt collection, it's tempted to change professions mid-poem. In the Chicago briefing, a white sergeant saying, blank slate for all of us after this black organizer is dead. Standard academics toasting $2 wine at the tank parade. They have nothing, Lord. Just nuclear cobblestones, gun line athleticism, and the last of the inherited asthma. Children giving white dolls to play with in fear. Facial expressions borrowed from rich people's shoestrings. I can hear hate and teach hate and call tools by people names and name people dead to themselves. No one get naturalized except federal agents soon. Carving the equator in the throat soon. I'm sorry to make you relive all of this, Lord. All of this pre-dime monarchy, friends putting up politician posters and snorting the remainder of the pace. Minstrel scripts shoveled into the walls by their elders. My children sharpening quarters on the city's edge. For these audiences, I project myself into a ghost-like state. For these gangsters, I do the same. Every now and then, take a nervous look east. Sleep becomes Christ. Sleep starts growing a racial identity. Do you ever spiral, Lord? Has the gang age betrayed to be patient with my poems, Lord? So much pain is a point to crime. It has to be if race traders come with it. Lord, is that my revolver in your hand? Better presidents than these of y'all in the cages have called us holy slaves, filled the school libraries with cop documentaries. Baby, I don't have money for food. Why, I have no present moment at all.